It's October 4th, 2021. I serendipitously stumbled across the old crossing guard, which I can't remember what her name is. I'm really so bad with names. And the new crossing guard, I think, is Anna. That's because she's got a 3-letter placement name. Other than that, whatever. But I stumbled upon the old crossing guard who's my age or around my age, after I had taped a fig tree across from NYPD, 111th Precinct, that has red flags hanging from it and and CD-ROMs. One that's in like this pink hue and one that's in like a silver hue. Very confusing. I guess you could call them handkerchief, chief, I don't know. But it's like this material, but it's only one color. Um, and so that was interesting. I mentioned it to her and I said, these things, she says I said, these things are so odd in a neighborhood that someone would hang red handkerchiefs and put CD-ROMs and dangle them like decorations out of a fig tree. I was like, I know somewhere in the world that has symbolic value. I just have no idea to whom and how to find out the answer for me and Nucci. And she says, yeah, she says, I don't know either. And I'm like, it's such a strange world we live in. So I walked away. And she was in plain clothes. Um, and so, and I was in this outfit. So I walked away, came home. I'm thinking about Nucci, especially, and myself when I was his age. I mean, like, we're high at risk children in this environment of Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361, and the New York City area. We're at high risk of being left behind or punished for a war that's going on around us quietly. I'm trying to figure this out because, like, symbolically, there was a small claims court event. Brendan Burns' father hired Brendan and I to sell his house, but I was not broker of record. That would be Kelly J. Jackson, the owner of Remax Alliance, who I worked underneath, or I was an independent contractor for. And on the listing with Brendan's father, we put that we were going to put it on MLS, and that if this one particular gentleman bought the house, we would still get paid half of a certain amount, specified amount of the commission, half of the commission. And so, and then after everything closed and was settled and done to like the expectation of, and written in to the contract, then all of a sudden this gentleman sues me directly. And I'm like, what do you, like, I didn't even understand what I was getting sued for. I'm like, what on earth could this man, now he was of color, I am of a different color or a different genetic, and he comes after me personally. I'm like, that's not even how the industry works. So I'm just confused why I'm getting sued personally when we already covered this in a friendly manner before paperwork was entered into. So, like, I don't understand what that symbolically meant and why I was being attacked. But it was really interesting how you humans go about your whatever. The other thing is that, and that was out in Suffolk County, no less. I'm just minding my business with my kids, trying to make some form of money to protect my, like, to keep a roof over my head and food in my kids' mouths, since I've been shut out of employment like a CEO or a financial officer or something that has a stipend that I mean, like, some of these people, some of these white people and others have multiple houses, they get jet plane rides places. I'm like, is there a reason why at an early stage I got shut out of that life? I'm just curious. At Holographic Universe, I was already picked. So if there's like some lotto system, I have a guy who wanted me. So, like, I don't understand how I got fucking shut out of that life that I belong to in Super Transformer, in, like, more important holograph universe. I said to Sophie today, I mentioned to her, I'm like, hey, Soph, I was like, you ever heard of something called a holograph universe? Or like anything along those lines? Like, is that like in urban legend or diction? And she's like, no, I never heard of it. And I was like, all right. I was like, I mentioned it today on my part, because whatever. I was like, what about in your, because she works special needs kids, and again, I don't really know her clientele. I'm like, what about quantum mirrors? Anybody ever mention that, or you ever come across any kind of anything on that? She goes, no. I was like, all right, so that didn't hit mainstream media or whatever. I'm like, all right. And I was like, for the purpose I mentioned, I said a quantum mirror in this day and age would be defined most likely as like a YouTube video. Somebody puts something on there and you're able to, it's like a voyeur view their point of view. It's the same thing with a novel and like a novelist. And they write things out of their divine inspiration. And then when they say that when you go to read the novel, it's like traveling inside the novelist's head or the novelist's world of whatever the novelist created. So this way you can understand something from another point of view. I was like, that's kind of the interpretation that I received for quantum mirrors of relevance for our day, for this day and age, in the 20th century while we're here in Bayside Station. So she was like, oh, she's like, well, that. And then I walked away, and I'm thinking, of course, myself, because that's the realm that I inhabit, whether I like it or not. It's just linguistically, I don't always have the updated linguistical prowess or library content of what the other consultants and things are going off of. So I don't know how to use that talent or whatever in order to succeed. But I also don't see an entry point anywhere, which is really difficult. I see a lot of nuances and flags, and even with Lewis, I'm like, Lewis, you're Italian. I was like, I mean, I just saw on the one of the Italian documentaries that like they still in Italy celebrate like medieval times in like Tuscany, I believe it was, where they dress up in their peasants and pageantry, and they do their team, like, politician, like, whatever's going on in their local area. I mean, like, that's community. That's, like, their God given right. I was like, we don't have any of that here. Although I do see some people brought it in, I just don't have any method of finding out or researching how they're using it. I mean, or keeping anything straight. Um, let's think about this. So I don't know how to get my son. I mean, like, there's no athletics that I'm able to pay for, and there's no free athletic league that I'm aware of. When you have an at risk youth, where do you go? It's like the Rikers Island detainees get specified clergy member, they say on the news, with NC, what is it, NCNY or NCONY? I don't know, they have some acronym that's different than NYPD. But they have a specified clergy member for detainees before they let them out in the general public through some naturalization project. Um, if you haven't noticed, you have a larger number of detainees naturalized and educated better than my own children and my own parents. And I'm going off of like, and now somewhere in Europe, respectably trained military, but like I can't remember back to when I'm 3, 4, and 5 and what the man said and like what was done. Besides the fact the machine's blown up, gone on, and offline so many times in between, and then it's like the musical chairs of they learned that the machine's going on and off, and then it's there's some new game going on in Dangerous and Quiet. But what I can see is that New York has evolved and the scene, the landscape, like the building structure, the I mean like it's all at different staggered stages of rollout and planning and development, and I'm stuck in a space and a hole in time and space where I'm an at-risk adult and I was an at-risk youth back in the day. And now I have, because of the great grape rape, where you took G away from me, and my one line out of being an at-risk youth, just one only child. I happen to be like this. I know it's not a priority for a lot of you, but it's a priority for some in quiet area. So now I just want to go to him, but yet I get stuck under some avalanche of detainees, naturalization, them being processed better and educated better than even myself. And then I'm sinking deeper and deeper into quicksand, and I have no idea how to help myself out. And I don't, it's not like I got two hammerheads that I live with as a great white. I mean, they're just nailing me down deeper into nothingness. And now I've got children I have to worry about. So now I don't know, like they say, like the athletics league, like, I mean, how do you even find these people? It's not like they make themselves accessible. Like, I mean, I'm a finite example of something, like small ratio, but important ratio. So I don't understand, like, how do I help myself and keep myself protected from everybody else? Today, by the way, Facebook went out. The IP address, I can't find my Facebook, the Facebook website. I don't know how IP addresses work or DNS protocol. I have no idea what any of that even means and who's responsible for it. And then there's something with Instagram went out also, but I don't know who's the parent, if Facebook's a parent to Instagram, that's confusing. I don't know how any of the major corporations are set up, who's funding what or whom. Then it's like, I feel like they've got future possibilities that they sue over when the good police who wants to protect everybody from being like biologically harmed wants to shut things down and scale back. Now all of a sudden there's some new quiet dangerous process that some upper echelon's working on, but like they sue each other or mergers and acquisitions each other like trading cards of like dangerous stuff at billionaires and whatever. I mean, and then I watch some of the TV shows and I'm just left really confused. I'm like, if I had to quantifiably decipher the code of the script of billions, I mean, I can see bits and pieces through the holes and the chinks in the armor, but like, um, I'm really confused, like, where that settles out on liability and stuff. I mean, like, I'm not at that kind of capital, anything. And then I'm like, and then you've got what I call DC Comics. But that's because it reads when you write it co-medics. Like, those are the good medics, like the physique medics. They're not the witchcraft abusers in New York City that I got going on with some tribunal, because there's a lot of them in the mix in New York now. You realize how the hospital bed population, it's like they were pushing for and anticipating on breaking all the humans, so they had occupancy at the hospital and the hospital in the future. And then they were just gunning for, like, keep it going, keep it going. And now I'm living in what I qualify at, like, it's like living in an MRI machine. That's how loud the background noise in New York is. Like, the airwaves are so statically charged and they're discharging so disruptively. There's, like, even my son says, he's like, it's like a hum. If I'm quiet, Mom, he's like, it's like a hum in the background, like, zzz, all the time. It never shuts off. And it's like, I know it's not healthy. How do I get out of here? How? Is there, like, some safe route to Canada that, like, somebody could let me know about? Because, like, I don't really know what's going on in the United States. I'm stuck in New York, and I was an at-risk youth who is even in more danger as an adult, with all these people and their lawyers and some kind of lawsuit system. It's almost like, I don't know, I hear these, like, there's someone call it class action suit. No idea how that works. But then it's like the federal government can't even afford itself if it doesn't sue somebody else's government, or it does sues the people and or taxes the people. How does that one work, big guys? I'm just curious, because the quantum mechanics are really clear when the fuse blows and I'm no longer wearing, well, actually, I was wearing the skin inside the room, but I wasn't with a known whatever when we had some kind of Tetra meeting, which was a hybrid meeting between 69 West Row Boulevard in Patchogue, New York, 11772. It was that set, but it was changed on CGI just slightly since Holographic Universe, half of it, the planet blew out. And it's like, that's going to be a known effect. I thought our job and operation was to make sure that they don't push the future in that specific direction while they still have a whole sphere that's somewhat functioning. The humans might not be functioning well in the United States of North America at all. That's clearly obvious. But there was at least some point we were supposed to be working on something. But I can't work on that level of quantum mechanics from Bayside Station, knowing that this is the flag symbol that's supposed to protect me and the only thing I have to hold on to. Only thing of comfort that I have as a symbol. And I don't even know, as lower 48, because it's got 50 stars. Does that mean I'm one of them? And, like, one of my kids is the other? I don't know. How does that work? Star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza. It's Earth, Universe, Solar System. I'm sorry. Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken. And I'm in Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. It's really confusing when the only way someone can pay their bills or function is to sue somebody else, even in a wrongful suit or a wrongful action, just to prevent someone from doing what they need to do. And that's what I feel like this New York City is up to. I feel like they have to sue the innocent who maybe at some point had some kind of witness protection fund, and then they sued the fuck out of everything that was supposed to be set up to protect the at risk in order to pursue some other dangerous agenda, which is now building itself to such an escalation at golden ladders and golden parachutes and so on and so forth, that it is becoming increasingly difficult to not see holographic universe for what is inevitable at this point. Because I'm not supposed to be in this one position, and if I'm here, nothing has been accomplished. That is for certain.